The people who are richer than you don't do things that you do. They stop doing things that you are doing. Because what happens is if you eliminate all of the wasted activity that you have in your life, you will create room for doing the few inputs that matter most. If I can toss this out for the people who are, younger or on the come up, or they're not on the come up and they want to be on the come up. One is that you have to figure out what problem you're trying to solve. So a lot of people start down a career path, even if it's, let's say it's bodybuilding, right? And they haven't actually played it out. So my three favorite questions to ask when we're trying to make a big strategic decision is, number one, what problem we're trying to solve. Number two is, let's play it out. And number three is, which problem would you prefer? And so if you figure out what problem you're trying to solve, then you are like, okay, well then there's multiple scenarios to solve this problem. So you play out each of them. So if someone's like, well, I want to be a bodybuilder, you're like, why? They're like, well, I want to make money. It's like, okay, that's a different problem, right? And so, to be fair, the only way you're going to make that is if you're literally number one or top five, that you'll make real-ish money, right? Yeah. Right. On the flip side, you could probably become an influencer without even stepping on stage and make significantly more money. You know what I mean? If that's the goal. So it's, again, what problem are we solving? Then you play it out and you're like, okay, well, now I'm number one. Now what? It's like, well, I wanted to, for me, playing it out was like, okay, I'm going to go to business school. Okay, then what? It's like, okay, well, then I'll get a consulting job that makes me $120,000 a year. Okay, then what? It's like, well, I guess I'd have to work up the ladder there. And then eventually I would save enough money to start a business. I was like, well, what if I just did that, if that's what I want to do? And so those are three questions I would ask myself. The second thing is that if you do not know the input-output equation for how you're going to be successful, you will not be successful. And so what I mean by that is, you have to figure out what primary actions you have to take that will continue to stack up over time. So for example, if I wanted to create a marketing agency, or I wanted to sell widgets or whatever it was, I will need to get customers. And so either I will reach out individually to friends and family, I will reach out individually to strangers to get them to hop on the phone and buy my thing, right? I will run ads to get it, or I will post content in order to get more customers. Beyond that, I could get affiliates, or I could get referrals to send me people. That's it. Those are the only ways we can get customers. If you don't know what the input system is there, where you're like, okay, I need to do 100 reach outs a day. I need to make 5 pieces of content. I need to get 2 affiliate relationships a week. Whatever the input is, if you don't know what that is, then you're never going to get there. So you have to figure out what problem you're trying to solve. You have to play it out and then figure out which problem you prefer, and then figure out what your input-output equation is to getting what you want. And then you do it. And you do it as many times as you possibly can, and you ignore everybody who tells you that you're wrong and tells you that you're not going to get there. And most of all, you ignore the thoughts that you were telling yourself about why you're not going to get there, because you are wrong on a long enough time horizon if you do the thing. And so if you do that, it becomes unreasonable that you won't succeed. And so I like to create unreasonable equations for myself, which is, if I did this thing every single day for 10 years and I never stopped, would it be unreasonable that I won't be a millionaire? If it's unreasonable that I won't be a millionaire, or I won't be a billionaire, or whatever your number is, then I'm like, cool, then that's what I need to do. And so if you haven't figured out your input-output equation, which is what I need to do to get the thing, then it is the first problem you have to solve. Once you do that, the rest of it is wake up early, spend the first 6 hours of your day making your content, doing your reach outs, recruiting affiliates, blah, 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 whatever thing it is, and then don't let anyone stop you. And that also means saying no to things that you probably want to do right now. Because the people who are further ahead of you have no more time than you do. They do things differently than you. And if you fill your time right now, every day, which you probably do because you're alive, you do things during the day, then it's not about adding more to your plate. It's about removing the things on your plate right now that you're wasting your time with.
Repeat that last sentence. That's incredible.
The people who are richer than you don't do things that you do. They stop doing things that you are doing. Because what happens is if you eliminate all of the wasted activity that you have in your life, you will create room for doing the few inputs that matter most. And then that's the thing that's going to get you to where you want to go.